This is McFly Angler.
And it starts now.
To start, we will want a long shank saltwater hook like these SL11s from Gamakatsu, and today I'm tying a size 6. Place the hook securely in your vise. For thread, you will want a thin yet strong thread like this Vivas 6/0, and today I'm using light pink. Start your thread right behind the hook eye and come down about a third of the way down the hook shank, then snip or snap off the waist. Now let's build a thread bump on the hook shank to place the bead chain eyes on. End with your thread slightly behind the center of the bump. Now let's cut off 2 beads from a medium-sized bead chain. Place the eyes 2 hook shank lengths back from the eye of the hook and make X-wraps and under-wraps to secure them on tight. Once secured on tightly, let's dab the wraps with some super glue, both on top and the underside. Now let's bring the thread all the way down to the start of the hook bend and then back up right behind the hook eyes to create a thread base. Now we need some medium-sized clear vinyl rib, or also called D-rib. I actually find it easier to put in a bobbin holder, but you can just cut off a few inches if you choose. You can see here that there is a flat side and a round side. Tie this end on top of the hook shank with the flat side up, tying down to the start of the hook bend, ensuring that the ribbon stays on top of the hook shank. Then bring your thread back up to just behind the bead eyes. Now for some flash. Let's cut off a strand of this saltwater-sized flashaboo. Tie this in directly on top of the hook shank like you did with the D-rib. Then bring your thread all the way back up to behind the bead chain. But this time, go back down halfway and back up again to create a little bit of a taper on the hook shank. And with your thread right behind the bead chain eyes. Proceed to make touching wraps with the flashaboo up the hook shank until you reach your thread and then capture it with a couple tight wraps and clip off the waist. Now let's start the ribbing. Ensure that the first wrap has a flat side down, so it gives a nice ribbed effect. This shouldn't be too difficult, but it might take a little bit of playing with to achieve. Once you start the wraps properly, then make touching wraps up the hook shank until you reach the thread. Capture the ribbing with a couple tight wraps, both over the ribbing and in front, and then cut it off close. Make a couple more tight wraps of thread to ensure that it stays put. End with your thread right in front of the dumbbell eyes. Now let's flip the fly over in the vise like so. Now you might be asking, why don't I just rotate the vise since I have a rotary vise? Well, because this happens. The vise gets in my way in the next few steps. So it gives me much more room around the fly for the next steps if I just rotate it like so. Now we need some calf tail, and today I'm using a tan color. Cut off a fairly thick clump of fur. Then pinch the tips of the fibers and stroke out any short fibers and underfur. Now you can save some of this for a smaller version of the Crazy Charlie, or any other fly that you need calf tail for. Okay, once the clump is cleaned up, then measure it out so it's sticking out about half of a hook shank length past the hook bend. Make sure and bring your thread up a little ways from the hook eye, as you will need some room here. Okay, this is the tricky part. You want to make a couple tight wraps with your thread to hold the fur down. However, the thread will want to push forward, so just take this step slowly. See, it pushed forward for me as well. That's okay, we'll fix this later. Pull up all the butt ends of fiber and then try to cut it off at a slight angle and as close to the thread wraps as possible. As you can see, there is some fiber sticking out over the hook eye. Carefully pull the fiber rearward and remove it from impeding the hook eye. Oops, see, this can happen very easily. The fiber is slightly slick and the thread will jump forward over the fiber. Okay, let's back off the thread until you remove the mess of excess wraps. Let's try this again. Okay, let's try once again here. As you can see, I'm making a wrap or two in front of the bump to move some of the fiber rearward out of the hook eye. And also, I'm not tying too tight over the bump just yet. Let's wait to make tight wraps until you can get further up the clump of material in hopes that it will not jump forward. Okay, this try worked. As you can see, this can be a tricky step. Just keep holding on to the materials and don't let go, or you will have to recut some fiber from the calf tail. Anyway, clean up that section with some thread wraps covering all the fiber at the head. Now we need some crystal flash, and I really like this midge flash in pearl because it's finer. Cut 2 strands. Tie in the flash so it extends out slightly past the calf tail fibers, and ensure it's slightly on one side of the fly like so. Then pull the forward-facing strands rearward and tie those in slightly on the other side as well. Trim off the excess flash so it's even on both sides, and then whip finish your fly. Now the end wasn't in the shot earlier, and I want to show you how long the flash extends here. To finish up the fly and secure it, let's add some of this ultra-thin resin from Solarez. Paint some onto the whip finish, and ensure that you get some in the wraps that hold the bead chain as well. Then cure it hard with your UV light. The combination of super glue and this ultra-thin resin will keep the eyes secure through many fish strikes. I mean, they're on there rock solid. And there we have it, the finished Crazy Charlie. These are rather simple flies to tie, especially compared to most saltwater fly patterns. However, you can tell that there is some trickiness to tying in that wing. Even so, once you get the pattern down, you can tie a couple dozen in an hour, filling up a box with flies in no time. And they work for more than just bonefish, like redfish, permit, corbina, and other crustacean-eating fish will gobble this up willingly. So give this fly a try soon. Let me know what colors you like fishing this.
As you all know, I've gotten you all discounts from www.risenfly.com. They manufacture all their own hooks, rods, reels, fly tying tools, and other gear for fly fishing. Not only are the prices at their shop very good already, but like I said, they're offering you 15% off of your first order with them. So go to www.risenfly.com and type in McFly at checkout for a discount on your entire cart. I want to also thank all of my patrons who support me. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support this channel, and also get some great perks like early access to my videos, participate in live streams, and even discounts on purchasing flies I tie and sell. Yes, that's right, I do sell flies hand-tied by me. If you want to order, you can do so through Patreon for that discount, or just place an order by finding me on Instagram or Facebook. Or if you don't use social media, then you can go to my YouTube homepage, click the About section, and then click View Email Address, and email me with your order. I want to also thank all of you who share all my videos and your continued support by hitting the like button and being my subscriber. Thank you for making these videos possible. I will see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.